My wife, our great first lady, she was a great first. People love her. Yeah, people love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good. Yeah, she's good.
So there was former President Donald Trump at CPAC over the weekend, who appeared to be getting his own wife's name wrong. Now, this clip has circulated around social media for the last few days and has enraged the former president, who actually was so angry he felt compelled to take to Truth Social and put out a video he recorded to basically say it was fake and that he meant Mercedes Schlapp, one of the organizers of CPAC, also the wife of Matt Schlapp, who's being sued right now for sexually assaulting a male staffer. But on the issue of whether he forgot his wife's name, Trump was furious as usual and went on about how this is just another attempt by the media to take him out.
The radical left Democrats are at it again. They're constantly making up stories about me because their candidate is a mental and physical basket case. There's never been anything like it. He's also the worst president in the history of our country. He went on a very poorly rated show last night, and he talked about Donald Trump and his wife. I don't know the name of my wife. He was referring to the fact that at CPAC, where I had a sold-out speech, the biggest audience they've had in years, I think maybe ever, I made the statement that Melania was very popular because when I mentioned her name, the audience went wild. I then looked at the two people, man and wife, Matt and Mercedes Schlapp, and I said, wow, they really like the First Lady. So this got taken as the fact that I thought Mercedes was the First Lady. It has nothing to do with that. These people are really dishonest. They are absolutely something. They have a horrible candidate who's a horrible president. They make up things constantly. You take a look at when I use Barack Hussein Obama and I interject him into where it's supposed to be Biden, and I do it purposely for comedic reasons and for sarcasm, because a lot of people say that Obama's running the country, not Biden, because he's sleeping all the time. They say, oh, I don't know the name of the president.
So Trump felt so compelled to clear the record that he actually went on camera to do so, something he usually does not do, and instead just rage tweets in all caps, clearly the sign of someone who definitely doesn't have anything to prove. Now, President Biden quickly fired back with this new ad of the former president saying, quote, Donald, man, check the tape.
And he talked about Donald Trump and his wife. I don't know the name of my wife. Wife, our great first lady. She was a great first. People love her. Oh, look at that. Wow. Mercedes, that's pretty good. When I use Barack Hussein Obama and I interject him into where it's supposed to be Biden. They were interviewing him 2 weeks ago, and they said, what would you advise President Obama? And I do it purposely for comedic reasons and for sarcasm.
Obama he doesn't want to talk about it.
Well, you mean President Biden. So,
say, oh, I don't know the name of the president. Or when I imitate this guy getting off a stage, what they do is they say, oh, he had trouble getting off a stage. I have no trouble getting off a stage. Anybody that watches what I do at rallies would say, wow, that's amazing. He can go 2 hours without a teleprompter, not making even a little mistake. We are an institute and a powerful death penalty. We will put this on. Like Nikki Haley is in charge of security. We offered her 10,000 people. Very few people, maybe almost nobody, can do what I do.
You got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
yeah.
So Trump and his MAGA minions, and honestly even some of the quote-unquote liberal media like MSNBC and CNN, have made a huge issue out of President Biden's age and mental acuity. Anytime President Biden makes any sort of gaffe or mispronounces a word, you basically see wall-to-wall coverage of it. But Trump, who is out on the campaign trail saying the craziest stuff and showing he's clearly rapidly declining every single day, never gets that type of scrutiny. Here are some things Trump just said in the last week that if it were Biden, there would be wall-to-wall coverage of.
They have to have a political voice. You know, if you think about it, you have men, you have women, and you have religion. If you look at it, you have more than the men, you have more than the women. You have such power.
If you can make out what he was talking about there, my hat is off to you. I certainly cannot. Here's him in that same speech claiming he moved the capital of Israel to Israel.
Nothing happened. But I did it, and Israel, therefore, became the capital. And it was a big thing. And on Monday, I called back the biggest leaders in the whole world, richest leaders, biggest leaders. I said, hi, what's up?
And then not being able to pronounce evangelicals.
Love of Christ, the stories of the Holy Bible, and the voices of famed evangelical people and evangelists like the late, great Pat Robertson, who was a great gentleman, got to know him very well.
And then slurring his words and not being able to pronounce supply chains.
Whose supply chain is broken,
So look, Donald Trump is no bastion of youth. He's no brilliant mind, and he never has been. He's also clearly getting much worse than he was in the past. At that same time, this election cannot and should not be about who makes more gaffes on stage, even though I personally think it's Trump. There are major ideological and substantive differences that will change the trajectory of this country for years to come based on who wins. Many believe, including myself, that our democratic institutions and principles, everything this country was founded on, are on the line in this next election. But aside from the very real arguments about our democracy, our democratic institutions, and the future of this country, there's also just the immediate question of who's even willing to govern. Now, Trump not only campaigned on building the wall in 2016 and securing our border and failed to do so, but he's also blocking any action on the border now, which he claims is the biggest national security issue facing our country. And President Biden released another digital ad detailing just that.
Why were you against the House, against the Senate border deal, the bipartisan border?
Well, they allow 5,000 people a week, but a lot of people took it as 5,000 people a day. It made it much better for the opposing side.
You know, he just admitted it. He sabotaged our bipartisan deal to secure the border because it made it much better for the opposing side. You know who the opposing side is? In this case, it's America. Donald Trump roots against America every chance he gets. He's only in this for himself.
It's honestly good to see President Biden taking the gloves off and just using Trump's own words against him. Because frankly, that's the most effective way of putting on display how insane, dangerous, and hypocritical he really is. Republicans, in their own words, put front and center how crazy they really are more effectively than anyone else could do. I mean, you can say how crazy Trump and Republicans are, or you can simply play the tape, as President Biden has started to do with Trump, and let the people arrive at that conclusion themselves. We will certainly bring you the latest in Trump and MAGA's lies and insanity through the election, where we've got a ton planned. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit notifications. With Really American Media, I'm Justin Horwitz. Thanks.